right, welcome back to Judging Bouncing Balls. Toby, how are you doing?
Doing great. Excited for what just happened. Great interview. Like, we're getting pretty big time, Jeremy. I mean, like, the ladder we are up there.
Watch out. I mean, look, I even have a mic now. Oh, what's going on?
I didn't see that. Right?
And it's on a boom, too. Look.
You ordered the boom?
I did. I said we're going to do this, and hopefully the audio quality is going to be a little bit better from here on out. So that's definitely something that was a little lacking. I would agree. So, but anyways, that's not the point. The point is Abby Gemza. We just had Abby Gemza on the show, and God, that was fun. I mean, as you said it best at the end, hour and 9 minutes, and we're like, whoa, where'd that go? Right.
And I'll be honest, I was it's Pickleball Wednesday, and I had taken my team, not on me, but me and my partner, all the way to the championship round, and I am like,
it was you.
Gots to go, folks. So I left before I made it to the championship round.
Ouch.
But it was worth it. I hustled home. I even got a hat on because my hair was out of whack. But man, what a great interview. Right? We've had last week we had Juan on, the coach from Division I. And then you get a player's perspective on everything from small town soccer to club to how she got recruited. Vegas, right? Like, evidently, we're going to Vegas.
Apparently.
Good things happen in Vegas.
That's what I heard.
All the times I've been there, but time to change. But what I found very interesting was listening to the different schools she went to, what they had, what they offered, and they were all Division I. But from a low end to a mid-major to now Utah Valley, which did you hear her drop the "we just beat Cal"? Like, I'm like, that's a pretty big-time school. And you just sprinkle that on like it's not like, no worries.
Whatever. Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I thought what was interesting, too, is her path was definitely different than what, you always hear people talk about, this is how you're supposed to do it. And she just said, I'm going to do it my way. And that wasn't necessarily the way that people recommend you do it. You talked about choosing the college for in case you can't play, and she was like, no, I just want to go D1. So it's different, but it's an interesting perspective on how it can work out still depending on how you do it. It doesn't have to be this cookie cutter method that everybody says you should do. You can do it your own way.
Yeah, I kind of appreciated that, right? Because everybody's stuck in a straight line, and she's like, I'll carve my own path, and I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, and you can tell she is not afraid to do her own path, which is, I'm sure her parents love and hate at the same time.
We might have to talk to her dad to get the real story of how this all went down.
Yeah, no kidding. But no, it's a really good listen. You're going to enjoy it. What the interesting is, we didn't plan this, but she actually played against Juan's Garcia's team last year. They actually beat them 1-0, and then this year they played again, but she wasn't on the Lamar team. So that was kind of interesting. We didn't plan it that way, but worlds kind of collided down south here, and then they involved us as well. So right. We'll take it.
Well, it's when you go national like we've been, you're going to run into these scenarios that just they just help the cause.
What can you say? We're big time.
It's about to start. But my phone's
Tens
ready to
of
ring.
Listeners.
Tens of listeners. Zeros of dollars are coming in right now.
Yeah, it's amazing. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a really cool conversation. You're going to love that one with Abby Gemza. We got to come up with a name. That's something I didn't jot down during this, and I haven't come up with any good, clever names for the podcast lately. I got to start maybe thinking about that. There's a lot of good ones that you could possibly use with her. So,
yeah. Well, we'll think. I'll do some storming tonight when I'm staring at the ceiling because coming off my pickleball high. You know how it is. Athletes. We're all.
You're right.
At the end of the day, it's just three potent athletes talking. That's what this podcast is. Three potent athletes.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. My back hurts, by the way.
Right.
It's really
totally
sore every morning.
Totally.
You know what the worst part about that
is like?
Yeah, but the worst part about that podcast, She said she was old. She's talking to two dudes that are like in their 40s. You're pushing 50, and she's like, I'm old.
She said she graduated in 2019?
Yeah.
I'm like, I graduated 27 years before you. 27. Like, what?
Almost 3 decades. Anyways, that part made me laugh because she's like, I'm old. I'm like, are you kidding me? You get your whole life in front of you.
Right? That was great. But no, I people listen. It's a great thing for young girl athletes, all athletes on where they want to go. But man, she really lays it out there and just having fun with life. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. Now, not to transition away from Abby, but anything else we want to cover and that's happening in the world that we need to address? I'm not thinking of anything.
We're kind of in our lull right now in January. Now you're running around playing hockey a lot.
Yeah.
And we're just practicing for pro, right? We got only 3 weeks, I think, and we head down. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's coming up quick.
Yeah.
Amelia is going to be able to get over to, it looks like this Saturday, which will be good. She's excited about that for practice. I will say I'd be remiss if I didn't at least, I mean, Spash is still number 1 in hockey in the state. So pretty good. Friend of the show, Matt Polkamp. I think we're the trajectory.
Right.
We did this. I'm just saying.
If you're out there and want to make your team great, call us. He's got to be excited, right? Is he strutting around school?
No, he's been really good demeanor. You know what's funny? I gave him a hard time last night because he actually yelled at a ref last night at the game. I thought I gave him a hard time. He's the coolest cucumber I've ever seen on the sidelines. Guys, just whatever. And there was a questionable call late in the game, and he actually kind of barked at the ref a little. I'm like, good for you. Fire your guys up a little bit. I like it. He's not satisfied
being number one. Right.
Yeah. So we'll see if we can hold it on. But yeah. So, anyways, friend of the show. If obviously now Juan's been on the show, they're probably going to win a national title next year. So just saying.
That's what we do. We bring trophies home.
That's right.
Well, that'll do it. But man, it was fun. Tonight was really fun.
Yeah,
this is kind of why I wanted to do the podcast, right? I wanted to talk to players and maybe, we can continue this. And now we've had Abby on, and, maybe we can get some other perspectives from other sports too.
For sure. It doesn't always have to be soccer, though. Obviously we spend a lot of time on soccer, but man, if you got somebody that you think would be fun on the show, get them in touch with us. Doesn't matter where they live. These interwebs are amazing. We can connect with anybody.
Yeah.
We think
Utah. Home of the Utes. Right?
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, you have a great evening.
You as well. This was a lot of fun. We'd love to get your feedback on this one, and we hope you enjoyed as much as we did.
And 5 people last hit the like button on our Facebook page. We're up to 95. Hello. And so hit it, talk about it, share it, tweet it, exit, whatever the keywords there is, and help us out, man. Help us out.
Yeah. Yes, we appreciate it. Thank you. All right, have a good night.
We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Welcome back to Judging Bouncing Balls. Toby and I are joined by Abby Gemza. Abby, how are you doing tonight?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm very excited.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So hey, let's jump off right away with Abby. Introduce yourself to the listeners. Tell them a little bit about yourself, your history, your journey to where you are today, and kind of what got you to be playing Division I soccer.
Yeah. So I grew up in Rochelle, Wisconsin. Shout out to my 400 people that live there. Yeah. Wouldn't change it for the world. It was awesome. Yeah. So grew up there, went to elementary school and middle school there. And then they unfortunately did not have a high school soccer team. So I had to transfer to Spash and got called Spash Trash for 4 years of my life.
That's
terrible.
Fantastic.
Yes. Terrible.
That's my new Twitter name, Spash Trash.
Yeah, that was like, I think everyone loved that. I like would go to the high school like Rochelle volleyball games and watch my sister, and they'd be like, "Here comes Splash Trash," and I'm like, "I deserve it. Yes, thank you." Thank you. Yeah, so went there for the 4 years of my high school, and that was awesome. And I played PCYS growing up.
Yeah.
That is home grounds there. It's the best complex I'll ever play at, probably. I love that place. Yeah, so grew up playing there, played a little bit of MRL and ODP, and then sadly our MRL team fell apart a little bit my like junior and senior year, so I had to travel to Oshkosh and Waukesha and do all that and play in some showcases with them. And then, yeah, I guess I don't know how in depth you want me to go, but I got recruited to a school in Tennessee and played 1 year there, which was awesome, super fun. But soccer wasn't everything I wanted, so I decided to jump in the transfer portal. Found myself in Beaumont, Texas. Have you ever been there? If you ever not been there, you don't need to go. It's a great
Shout out to Beaumont.
yeah. Shout out to all the oil
Lovely
riggers
people
out
there.
there. Yeah, for sure. It was an interesting experience and part of my life. Yeah. So went there for 3 years. Tore my ACL my junior year. So found a left bench for me there. They got me a nice seat out there in left bench. Yeah. Then played my senior year there, finished it out, graduated, and transferred here to Utah Valley. And got through preseason and tore my other ACL. So now we're just hanging out. Yeah, but it's okay because I get my master's paid for and I get to live in the beautiful state of Utah for 7 years of college. So
hey, that's longer than me.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the world record. It's been a journey for sure.
Wow, that is quite the journey, and I hope you heal very quickly. That is really unfortunate to hear. I've had a number of players that I've coached and people that I know that have gone through it, and it's never fun for any of them. I'll tell you that. So
no, it's not. Definitely not.
You know, if we could, let's start. You came from Rochelle. You said small community, and then no soccer program, so you had to transfer to Spash, Stevens Point area.
Had to. Come on.
Well, she didn't want to be called Spash Trash, but they made her.
No, I didn't. Yeah, they did.
Right? And so, you kind of you got to Spash, and then you were playing club in rec or right in Spash area high school, and then you went to. When did you end up playing club down out of Milwaukee? Is that what you were talking about?
My like junior and senior of high school, I did. I played in like Waukesha, and I would just train down there when the parents could take me. It's a far drive for a weekday, but I mainly played with Oshkosh United for my junior and senior, and then just guest played with like Waukesha teams when we go to Vegas and stuff. And that's actually how I got recruited. Just playing with them.
So up until your junior year, you were just high school, or was there summer soccer club or local?
Yeah. So I played high school in the spring, like that is in Wisconsin. And then I played ODP in the winter, kind of into summer. And then I also played PCYS, which turned into like an MRL team in the other season. So yeah, it was like full time all the time. But I am glad I played high school, as much as I know everyone's kind of like club is the best. But I think, being in a team and having captains and formulating the high school and navigating that is really important too. So glad I did that.
We are big components of high school soccer. Yeah,
you're not going to get an argument out of us.
Playing for your community, playing for your school.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you, looking now at what we're doing, right? We're doing club from U11 on, really, or you get to U12 and you start to really get going. We started traveling at U13 to Milwaukee, and then it just gotten more and more. Now we're U16, traveling to Florida. We're a national pro now. Is that an experience like you how far did you travel, with Oshkosh United?
Yeah, that was a long time ago. We did not.
You're not that old, Abby. Come on now.
I'm old. I also have like the memory of like a 5-year-old. I'm like, what did I eat for breakfast? I don't even know. It doesn't matter. I'm here, But Yeah, we never flew. My dad he's a big driver, so we'd always drive, but he's probably listening to this and being like, how do you not remember? We went all the way over the country, but
yeah, he remembers.
Yeah. Oh, he does. Every trip. He's crazy. He's like an old elephant. He knows everything. But yeah, we traveled like to Ohio and we went to Florida or that far, but we did a little traveling. But Oshkosh only when we like made it to nationals and that stuff did we travel like to Indianapolis and stuff. But yeah, we didn't travel too. But more with Waukesha. We went to like Vegas and Florida and all those bigger showcases where there was a lot more college coaches. So that's where we did more of our traveling. But that was once in a while. It wasn't, like club.
So when you hear the things that clubs are doing now Waukesha, was that Elmbrook or was it just Waukesha? Or what club was in Waukesha?
I think it was just called. Oh gosh, I think it was just called Waukesha. Waukesha Union. Okay. Yeah, I think. Because
now, like, if you're not traveling, it's like you're just stuck in the mud. You're playing Wisconsin teams, and it's like, well, if you want to play good soccer, you got to get on an airplane and you got to go to here or there. And we're USYS. There's GA now. There's ECNL now. And we'll talk about that for recruiting purposes. But in your opinion, I guess looking back, do you think it was easier and better just being around and not having to do all this, or do you kind of think we're crazy? You can say it.
I think the recruiting world and traveling and youth soccer is just insane to me now. Like, I'm glad I grew up in that era where like technology was not huge. Like, I have a couple teammates who have sisters and they're like, Instagram is just like their whole highlight reel and stuff. And I'm like, I don't even know how I'd keep up with that, So I do think you guys are crazy, but
yeah, it's okay.
I do say that, but I did get recruited from college by traveling, to like Vegas and them seeing me. So it does have its benefits, but traveling every weekend and flying is tough.
You said you guest played. Now, how was that? Like, how do you go from your team, right? And all of a sudden they're like, hey, you're going to go play with 15 new girls. And you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was like mental toughness at its best right there. Cause you're at a college showcase, right? And you don't know any of these girls and you're like, okay, go play the best soccer of your life so you can go play college. And then learn their names while you're at it. Like, yeah, it was just crazy, but you kind of just had to go in there and, do your thing. But yeah, it definitely was an interesting experience, but I'm glad I did it because you get out of your comfort zone, you're uncomfortable, and I truly do believe like the more uncomfortable you are, like the better you are. So it was a good experience for sure.
Now, what can you pinpoint the showcase that kind of put you on the map, like for college?
Yeah, we were in Vegas. It was the yellowest grass I've ever seen or played on in my life. I don't have Vegas. A great memory of, it was not pretty, but playing center back, and I honestly don't think I played the best, but I think I played decent. And I reached out to a bunch of schools, and I don't even know if I reached out to the school that recruited me. I might have, but afterwards it was called Austin P in Tennessee, in Clarksville, Tennessee. And they reached out, and it was the only D1 I had at the moment. And I was like, I knew that it was hard to get into D1, and I knew it was hard to get into D1 if you hadn't started at D1. So I was like, this is my opportunity to get in. And I took it, and I'm so grateful for them. And I learned a lot there, and the coaches were awesome. And I made some really good friends, actually my best friends I got from there. So, so then I went there, and it obviously wasn't the best soccer, but it got me in, and then it was like a little easier to transfer to another D1. But
see, that was a question I had for you. So do you think that just by getting into Division I, it opens a door that you wouldn't have if, let's say, you're going to a Division II or Division III and you're trying to transfer into Division I? Do they look at you a little bit differently because you were Division I prior?
I don't know, like from the coach's perspective, but from like the player perspective, it's more of a flex in a way.
Okay.
But we have had, this is one thing that I've learned over the 7 years I've been in college. We have like girls that come from JUCO, and they're just like unbelievable players. So I don't know what JUCOs are doing, but they're doing something right. And these girls are just, obviously they're more foreign. Usually the ones that we get are like from out of the country and stuff. But they're just outstanding players. I haven't met a ton of D2 or D3 players that have entered into like D1 programs, if I'm being honest. But we do have like a lot of D1 transfers and a lot of JUCO transfers, which is kind of odd because I don't really know where JUCO lies on the scale there, but you know.
Gotta watch Last Chance U. It's on Netflix. It's about basketball. It talks about JUCO.
Really?
It's a new light of how they handle it. It's a different scenario than you lived.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've heard a lot of positive experiences from JUCO, so I don't think that's a bad route to go.
No, if we go back up, both our daughters have done ODP. I think Jeremy, is Amelia still doing it?
Yeah, she's still doing it. We're a sucker. What can I say?
And by the way, I think, and this is my opinion on ODP, I think it's a great thing, but I think it's the greatest named function in soccer, like Olympic development program. When I tell like, oh, my daughter's going down to ODP, and everybody's like, what's that? I'm like, Olympic. They're like, are you kidding me? I'm like,
yes,
easy, right? We're not going to the Olympics.
Right.
Well, you know what's funny about that is I'm the same way as you, Toby. Every time I mention it, I'm like, oh, yeah, ODP. And they're like, oh, what is ODP? And I always qualify it with, it sounds better than it is. it's the Olympic development, but they're not really going to the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah, they need to change that or something because it doesn't reflect. Right. Like, it's nothing.
It's right, yeah. Better than like Larry's weekend soccer camp. So, but now when you did it, like we joined in 20 during COVID, so it was very limited. You traveled on Sundays down in Milwaukee most of the time. You played in the winter weekends down on a field in Hart Park, and then we'd have a shot in gyms and different things. Now, and then when we made it, we took our daughter with us down to Indianapolis. She stayed with us. And then we went to the fields. But when you did it, you were gone, right? You got, I think, to Michigan?
Yeah, the one where you like go and play like a bunch of games in a weekend, whatever. And it's yeah. Oh my gosh, that was the most fun I've ever had in like outside of like high school and club was ODP. Because we got to go without our parents with a bunch of our friends and go play like high level soccer with a bunch of boys in a hotel room. So it was super fun.
Right.
Dad
now we know where we're going with this.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. That first year was so fun. We just messed around. You don't know as kids, how important it was. But so we would stay in a hotel for the weekend. It was kind of like, like the national camp does their camps for like weeks or whatever. It kind of felt like that, like we were there to play with a bunch of really good girls from our state, and everyone was super competitive and stuff. And it was super awesome. I loved ODP. It did kind of trickle off when I first started. It was kind of like the best of the best played ODP. And then I felt like the last couple of years, we got a couple girls that were like, how did you make the ODP team kind of thing? But it was still super fun, and we got to travel.
Right. It's not a money grab, Abby.
No.
We speak very kind of ODP. We're not knocking it. We've all done it.
No. Yes. Yep. No, it's awesome. And it's a good connection. There are college coaches that do it, and there's really good exposure from it. And obviously if you keep making the next camps, like, that's super cool too. But it was a really good experience, and I'm still really glad I did it. And I met a lot of nice girls and played some good soccer.
How far did you make it? Because it goes, the regional Wisconsin team is how we do it, and then you go to ID camp in Rockford, and then they choose players to go to Florida. How far did you make yours?
Yeah, I always made it to like the week-long camp. I don't know what they do now, but ours was like a week-long camp, kind of like 4 days, 5 days. I never made the actual like regional team, but I always made it. I don't know. We call it like the holdover camp. Like you'd go for the holdover camp.
That's probably the ID camp because that's the one that's like multiple days.
Yeah, and we would just go and we'd stay in like this weird Kentucky college, and like sleep in dorms with a bunch of girls and just play soccer for a week. I don't know. It was a little sketch now that I'm thinking about it.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah,
Your dad's like, here's a couple $100 ODP. Good luck with my kid.
Literally.
If you hear banjos, run away.
Yeah, I don't even remember. That was a blank. That was a crazy time.
So you got to experience like full out dorms for days. Like now, like ID camp, we brought our kids down to ID camp. We stay in a hotel with them. We take them to the field, bring them home, feed them. So they like, I think it's changed a little bit now, but now you're talking about, you got to go live in the dorms and grow up a little bit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We had to like ride buses down there. They'd like pick us up at some sketchy gas station. Our parents would walk us up. Yeah.
They just brought that back because last year Amelia rode bus down to St. Louis, but before that, because of COVID, they didn't do any of that. So that's something we never really got to experience until last year, was the whole bus ride down, which I will say that's actually a pretty cool feature, to be able to ride with your friends, you know, on a long bus ride. You kind of bond, you stay in a dorm. They went to St. Louis University down there in, Washington University in St. Louis, which was really cool. Sweet. So, yeah. Yeah, no, that part is definitely, you know, you get to like graduate from riding with your parents to the games, you know, and kind of figure out how to give your own pep talk when your dad's not there, you know, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's definitely fun.
I still think it's funny though. You're just, you know, we because right now we travel with our kids, we do everything, you know, we take care of them, but man, just go to a gas station, shove her on a bus. I mean, that'd be fantastic, right? Turn and burn out of there and be like, I don't care what it costs. I get a weekend alone.
Literally. I'm sure that's going through their heads. They'll never admit it. But.
Right.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have an older brother and sister.
Did soccer?
My brother played soccer through high school. If you've heard of Amherst Fire, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's like, it was Amherst. Like the whole, like, my dad was the coach for a little bit. I don't really know how that happened. And it was like Amherst and Iola.
Paul's rolling over right now.
Oh, yeah. We had the baseball coach on from Amherst. And we pick on Kimberly High School in Amherst for some reason. And I still don't know why we pick on Amherst. Oh, I do know why.
Paul picks on Amherst because he got beat by him.
He got beat by a guy in wrestling.
Oh, gosh.
Right?
40 years ago? Is he old as dirt? How does he still remember that?
Still drives him to this day.
I bet he does. I bet he does. That man is hilarious.
Now, Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so we did our first real showcase 2 weeks ago in Stillwater. And we drove through that snowstorm. It was amazing. Just fantastic. And my daughter did get an email, and others did too, but it was the Spain trip. And she was going through the pictures, and I think she's like, that's Emma Nagel. And then you were on that team also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How was, like, you've traveled quite a bit with this sport, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
How was Spain?
Yeah. Spain was incredible. And there was some weird period where I like did not want my parents to come with me. Everyone else's parents went, and I was like, "No, you can't come. I'm going to this country alone." So they still hold that against me. But I was like, I want to do this by myself. I don't really remember the reasons why, but probably just because I was like, parents gross. I want to do this by myself. I want to hang out. So we were down there for I think 10 days, and I think that's really where I learned to like that culture. Like I would eventually want to leave the United States and like live down there because we like walked everywhere. We ate like weird bacon for breakfast and, you know, bread. It was just like weird. And they would feed us hard bread in this weird dome like every day. And it was just, but we got to play teams from like all over and it was super cool. And I just remember we stayed in this like school and slept on the floor on mattresses maybe they gave us. I don't remember. But we would play with these little 10-year-olds. They would just come and like play in this little, like they had like this little court out there, whatever. And they didn't speak any English. And me as like 16, 15 years old, they were kicking the crap out of me. They were so freaking good. I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, I really need to pick up my game in the States. These little 10-year-olds were like balling out. It was crazy, but yeah, it was super fun. And our team was pretty good. We made it to like, I think the game before the championship game. We didn't get to play on the really cool field, but it was still a really good experience, and seeing that side of the world and the culture and stuff was really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess as your youth and you grew up, did any other things you've done to, we look at everything and we're always like, oh, it's one more thing, right? It's one more thing. There's always one more thing. It's either ODP or now it's like abroad to go play, and now we're like, now it's ID camps. Did you do any ID camps?
Yeah. I don't remember when I started, probably more my junior year and stuff. I went to like a Minnesota camp, Marquette camps, but I never really got any like recognition from that. It was more like the showcases I went to and played with like big teams and stuff. But yeah, I definitely did those, and that was really good to see because you could see like the level of other girls and where you were kind of at and like where you needed to, pick up your game a little bit. I remember going to the Minnesota camp and this girl that was like committed there, and she was like a freshman, and she was like unbelievable. And I was like, whoa, like I thought I was good. And then I like saw her and I was like, all right, I need to practice in the backyard a little more. Yeah. So it was good to like see who was committed and like what their level was at and like kind of where I needed to be to even like get recognized in that way too. So
did you get any so right now, because it's like June 15th or something is the day after your sophomore, you can get talked to. So right now, if my daughter sends out tape, right, you always get we're not allowed to talk to you. And so did you have like offers at different levels through your travel, like D3, D2?
I wouldn't say it offers, but I had talked to, I remember what's that school in Minnesota? Winona. I went to Winona a couple times, talked to that coach. But I did not have a ton of offers, honestly. Looking back now, it's crazy that I'm even here. Like how that journey begins, you like get so scared and then, it pans out in a couple of years later. But yeah, I didn't have a ton of offers going into it. But I did have that D1 and I was just like, I know they're not the greatest, but you can always get better no matter like what your team looks like, so I kind of had that mindset going into it, but yeah.
That's crazy because now they thrive on the broken leg test, right? If you get hurt at college, you should love the school. And for you, it was kind of, I want to play D1. I'll figure it out from there. And then you end up getting hurt twice, right? 2 different schools.
Yeah.
But the mindset wasn't like I wanted this pretty perfect picture of college. It was just I wanted to play D1 soccer. Mm-hmm. And and I think people get tied down both ways, right? Some, and then it doesn't work out, but you would seem to work out pretty well. Yeah.
And I'm just like, my dad always says we're living in like Abby's world, and that's kind of like how we operate. But I'm kind of, Beaumont obviously was not a nice place. Like my parents would barely visit me. It was not nice, but I kind of just always made the most of where I was and like the people around me, so, and I'm not a huge school girl, like love getting a degree paid for, but not a huge school girl. So the school didn't really matter. The soccer mattered more. And I knew like no matter where I went, I would figure it out and have fun no matter what kind of thing. So, but people are completely different. Some people really value like doing things around them and stuff like that, where I'm just like, whatever, like, I could stare at a wall and have so much fun for like 4 hours. So definitely depends on the type of person and like how you view the world, I guess. So yeah, I kind of just went wherever I felt was right and went day by day, I guess.
All right. You're young enough I can ask this, but what year did you graduate high school?
2019. Long time ago.
I'm going to say, I was like, I don't even know back then who was president. I mean, that was a long time ago.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
Come on, Toby. So speaking of that, this is where I want to interject a little bit. So, Abby, I remember when you were at Spash, I remember your senior year. I'm going to share something here in a second with the screen, but I want you to talk a little bit about the multiple sport athlete that you were, because we've talked about that on the show a lot, about being a multi-sport athlete. And I'm just kind of curious how you felt. Did it help you? Did it hurt you? Do you wish you would have specialized earlier? The thing I want to show on the screen, I'm going to share this here, is Abby is at homecoming. Abby was on the homecoming court. I did find this picture. I told you I was going to look for it. And it's a picture of Abby on the homecoming court. I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but she's in full football uniform, which is awesome. Everybody else is in their gowns and all this stuff. And I still remember my daughter, Amelia, who Toby knows, was at this game. And we were like, she thought that was the coolest thing. She looked up to you from like that moment, because she thought that was so cool that you were on the homecoming court in a football uniform and you were on the football team. But talk to me a little bit about maybe that memory, but then also the multi-sport, like how that impacted you.
Yeah. I think it was my junior. Well, I always played basketball growing up. Basketball and soccer were kind of the thing, and then Dad, being the hard ass. I don't know if I can swear on this. He is.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Okay. The hard ass he is. He's like, you're gonna have to choose. Like, you do basketball or you do soccer. You pick one. Like, that. So of course I pick soccer. Like, I love soccer more. I also ran track a little bit too, but so kind of like my freshman, sophomore year, I just played soccer and basketball. And then my junior year, I was like, my friends were like, you want to play tennis? And I was like, I would love to play tennis. Why not? So played tennis a little bit. My junior and senior year, I was like top elite JV. I think I was like second on JV. So
nice.
Yeah, that's where I hit my peak in high school right there. But yeah, and then my senior year, I don't really know. I was kind of just like senior year, like, let's go for it. And I was like, I can kick a soccer ball. I think I could probably kick a football. And I think their kicker was pretty bad. So I was like, what if I come in there and show this guy up? So.
Oh, no. He was the best kicker ever. You were just that good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. No, yeah. Actually, he's actually in the NFL now. Yeah. He wasn't, no. Yeah, so I talked to the parents, and I was like, guys, I want to play football. And Dad was like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay, but like, I kind of want to. And he was like, you're not doing that. You're going to get hurt, like all this stuff. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do it anyways. Sorry, Dad. I'm going to do it. So he was like, okay, you have to pay your own way. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm in high school. I can't do that kind of thing. So, yeah, I kicked for the football team. I made, I think, 6 out of 7 the time I made it on the field. It's the best experience of my life. I learned nothing about football. I learned how to talk shit on the sideline with some guys who never stood foot on the field, but it was so fun. But back to your original question. I think it definitely helped a lot with soccer. Obviously, soccer was still my main sport, and I was still playing soccer on top of all of this. But I think there's a lot of pressure when you have one sport, and you kind of like every thought is to that sport, So when I played these other sports, I got a break from that. And then when I came to soccer practice, it was like full focus, So I think it gave my brain a little bit of a relax mode when I would play tennis and just do it for fun, And I was like, I was not good at tennis, but it was fun, and I gotta like have speed and stuff through that way. But I definitely would urge kids to do that more. And I know everyone's like, we got to play soccer and train and do all this stuff. But I think you lose motivation a little bit when it's just like soccer, and putting so much pressure on it where you forget like, oh, I can play tennis and just have fun. And it's just like, like sports are fun and stuff like that. So,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because my daughter's playing hockey right now. And she just said on the car ride home, we were at Green Bay, and game did not go well, but she's like, I'm having fun, but she said it's almost soccer season. I'm like so amped for soccer season, because she's had that little break, and I do think that's important as much as you love it. I mean, I loved football. I played in college. I loved it, but you always need a little bit of a break. I really think that's important.
Yeah, especially in college too. It's like whenever you're on a break, you're running, you're lifting, you're training. It's not really a break. Where like in high school, it's not as serious, so you can play tennis and it's a break, and you're still exercising and being fit, and it's fun, so Yeah. I wish I could be on the UVU tennis team, but sadly they don't accept JV recruits. But
Never know.
You just got to pad your stats a little bit. Just get rid of JV and put best player ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Did your club seasons run year round back then, or were they fall and then you played high school in the spring and then they pick back up? I mean, because right now we run, besides high school soccer, we're running now with all this extra travel and pro league and Florida. I mean, we've taken maybe 4 weeks off without having an opportunity to play in the club.
Yeah.
And that's our big thing. You know, we talk about when we grew up, you know, you as soon as you put the basketball down, you picked up a baseball.
Yeah.
So basketball never carried into baseball, and baseball never carried into football. And now it's like the basketball coach is mad, right? Because you're playing tennis, and then the tennis coach is like, why are you playing basketball?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the problems we run into now. It's like everybody's mad at everybody instead of just maybe setting some guidelines. And then you throw club in because club's important because they talk about nobody recruits at a high school game, so then you got to play club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is a whirlwind of everything. We played in the summer for sure, and then spring. Summer was more like travel, I think, and then fall was more like the local. You would play more there, so summer we would go all over, and then spring was high school. But I think the winter time was probably my favorite. Playing like futsal and playing in like 3v3 tournaments. I think that was probably my favorite part of whatever season it was, you know. So
See, everybody's talking now futsal. Futsal is the new shiny toy. And we don't play any futsal up here. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but if you get, I mean, now winter is futsal. They're traveling. There's teams out of Milwaukee going to St. Louis for the national tournament. And I'm like, holy cow, like, when is it?
Yeah.
Like, can we just get a break here?
I know. There's no break in soccer.
Right.
No break. Yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, we didn't really play a ton of, I would say, called futsal in Wisconsin. We played on basketball courts with just like a soccer ball or maybe a harder ball, but that's where it all happened, was like the 3v3 beating the boys and doing all those tournaments and stuff. And I do think that's really important, is playing that. And then when I come to like other places and I'm like, oh, you guys play indoor? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what? I thought this was a thing everywhere, you know? But yeah, it has been popping up a lot more. When I was at my last school in Texas, we played, I played on an indoor team, and it was like the biggest thing. I didn't even realize it was a thing, but there's like clubs all over and played in actual games and stuff, and it was competitive, and it's on the rise for sure.
Yeah. And you felt it helped?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's just a different way of thinking and a different way of playing. You're obviously in a really small space, and you have to use a lot of one touch, which should be encouraged on a field, you know? So yeah, I definitely think it helped. And it was fun. Like, we just went out there and had fun and messed around and did stuff we never do, you know? So helped the creativity brain for sure.
Yeah, and that's what Coach Juan last week talked about too, was just that.
Out, we're going.
Yeah, he talked about that one touch and how that was so important. So,
yeah, for sure.
So, Austin Pay, Tennessee, Division I. Like, everybody talks about Division I, and my problem is when I think Division I, I think of the Badgers. I think Ohio State, right? I think all these monster colleges. You know, last week we had Juan on. He was the assistant coach at Nicholls State, Thibodaux,
I think they were in our conference.
Louisiana. Oh, really?
And Lamar. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if they. I know we played them, but I don't know if they were in our. The conferences get switched up, like, I don't even, periodically. So I don't know if they played them last year. But
I'll see if I can figure that out while you guys talk.
I know we played them my sophomore year and we beat them. I think I remember that game.
Uh-oh.
He said last year they had a down year. They were 1-17-1. So I don't know if you have any eligibility left, but we do know Juan. We're kind of buddies now, me and Coach.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think,
When you, like, so we had a good friend of mine, John Murphy. He was a coach. He's a basketball coach, and he one of his players Sandy Cohen played at Marquette basketball, right? And when I talked to him, he mentioned Marquette basketball. They had a private chef. They had their own rooms with big screen TVs. They flew private to basketball events.
Crazy.
Is that the way you've lived your life?
No,
What?
definitely not. And I thought that too going in. I'm like, I wish. Oh my gosh. My kids are going to play like the smallest sports, like basketball, where there's like 10 of them. And they all get to fly like private and all that stuff. But no, I definitely thought that going in. And I've been blessed. So I guess let me explain this. So that is like high level D1. And the ones I've kind of gone to are like, we call them mid-major D1s. So they're UVU is like I would say like a higher mid-major. We compete with like bigger schools, like we just beat Cal and all that this year. So I would say like we're mid-major, and we don't get treated like princesses, but we still get some D1 benefits. Like at my first school, they did our laundry, which was like, then my second school, they did it, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like that was luxury, doing our dirty laundry. But I don't know. I can't. Yeah, I guess I can't compare it to D1 and D2, but obviously UWSP in Stevens Point, I don't think they have the same facilities and stuff as us,
My wife played at UW Stevens Point.
And they don't get their laundry done.
No.
Yeah.
I'd say my daughter's actually attending USP. That she's going to play tennis at Stevens Point next year. And I will break the news to her that there is no private jet, there's no laundry, there's barely a meal plan.
We can start a GoFundMe for that. We can get it rolling.
That's right. And I did see, by the way, that Lamar did lose to or did win against Nicholls State last year. So
okay, they did play him. Wait, what year is last year?
Yeah, well, that was this last season.
What season?
They won. That would be the 23 season. They won 5-1 over Nicholls State. So sorry, Juan, if you're listening. Didn't want to bring that back up.
Yeah. I think when we first played them, we played on their field. I remember that. That was like the first time I played midfield at that school. And their field is kind of tiny. Sorry for listening, but your field is tiny. It's like this little backfield behind their football stadium. It's like this massive football stadium. And then there's just like a small, the nets are nice. That's at least something, but
hey, there you go. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come for the heat, stay for the nets, right?
Yeah. Literally. Yes.
So,
because
Lamar's a really good soccer program on the women's side. They made the tournament, right?
They made it we actually have been good all years I was there. We just got really unlucky the first year I was there. It was so sad. Some little kids tormented us about it too. I would train them and they would bring it up, but we were beating. Yeah, it was bad. I couldn't believe this little 12-year-old was just, it was really bad. But we played Sam Houston and we had dominated the whole conference, and then we played Sam Houston in the tournament, and we were winning 3-0 the whole match, the whole game. And then somehow they scored on us, and then about soccer. As soon as you get scored on, it's downhill from there. And so then they scored another, and then we tied, and we went to overtime. And then went to overtime. They hadn't scored on us. And then 17 seconds left in the match, and they beat us. They scored a goal on us, and we lost. We could not believe. And so now these kids that I'm training, they're 17 seconds. And I'm like, what did you just say? I couldn't believe they were doing that. But then the next year, they did pretty good, too. And then we went into the WAC. So that's kind of crazy. So we were in whatever conference they're in. I can't think of it right now. The Southland. They were in the Southland. And then we went to the WAC, which is what Utah Valley's in now. And that's better competition. That's a higher mid-major than the Southland. The Southland's pretty low on that. And then we got pretty far in the tournament in the WAC. I think we lost in the third round or something like that. Sadly. And then our football team did terrible in the WAC. So we had to get out of the WAC because they were spending all the money. You couldn't fly them everywhere, you know? So that kind of sucked for women's soccer because the WAC was like really good for us and the Southland was just no one we could really compete with. But then tore my ACL that year, and then my senior year we won and went to the NCAA, and that was super good. And then last year, this past fall, they did the same thing, so that was super awesome for them. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
How does that when you go to Austin Pay in Tennessee and you get through your soccer season, like, you know what, this isn't for me, I would like more. So how does that process start? Because we've heard like the portal now it's like everybody uses the portal. I mean, like right, most of you hear on the news about the football kids, but when you decide that Austin Pay is not for you, how do you go about the portal?
Yeah, it's actually like a terrifying process. I like wish it upon nobody, but it is definitely beneficial at the same time. It is definitely a black hole, but there's sunshine on the other side, so it's worth it. But so basically, okay, one thing I can give advice from experience is before you even think about that, like make sure your relationship with your coach is good because they have a huge wager on if you go to a good school or not or what you do. So I had a really good relationship with my freshman year coach. I don't really know how. We just became really good friends somehow. And I went to her and I was like, look, like I want more. This is just not it. It's nothing against you, nothing against the girls. Like I just need more. And she was like super supportive. And she's like, yes, like I think that's something you can achieve. And we're here to support you. Whatever. She's like, I'll do whatever you need. So that is very rare. Most coaches do not do that. My second time transferring, that was not the same attitude I got. So that was two different perspectives. But yeah, and so then you have to like talk to compliance and they put you in the portal and you get like an email. And this is really cute. They like send you a little video about like little tutorial about like you're in the portal now and like this is what you can do and can't do. It's like so fun. And then for months you just cry because you have nowhere to go at that point. So you can always go back and watch that. But yeah. So then basically you're in the portal and coaches will reach out to you eventually. But usually it's not kind of what you're looking for unless you are like transferring out of Minnesota or Wisconsin, you know, where they know they're getting a quality player out of there. But yeah, so then I just like emailed every person I know and their cousins and everyone and meaning the coaches. But yeah, so I would just email a bunch and call a bunch and hope someone likes your video and your email and picks you up. So that's kind of how that goes. But a lot of them, so if you start talking to them, a lot of them will call your coach. And luckily my coach gave me like A+ rating. And so a lot of the coaches were like, that never really happened. So that was really showed my character to them, which was really helpful. And that's kind of how I found Lamar. And yeah, but I was definitely in the portal for like a lot of months and it was terrifying for a long time.
Because the school Austin Pay, did they pull your, did they tell you, hey, you're going in the portal, so we're kind of done with you? Or you can come back?
I don't know. Like you can come back if they want you to come back. I don't know the full compliance of it, but every time I was about to jump in the portal, I was like, my scholarship is good, right? And they're like, yes, sign this document, whatever, make sure. Because it's not fun halfway through the semester, like, hey, you're actually going to pay all your tuition now. And you're like, I didn't sign up for that kind of thing. But yeah, so you can jump back on the team if you don't find anything. I don't think that's necessarily healthy for anyone to go back on the team you just tried leaving, but
yeah.
I guess it's better than not playing soccer. So yeah.
Because you jump in blind, right? Like nobody reached out and says, Abby, you know, we really think you should come to Lamar.
Yeah.
Enter the portal.
Yeah, no, they can't even do that. You can't even talk about anything like that.
Yeah, that'd be scary. So. Holy buckets.
Yeah, it definitely is. But you have to like have the right mindset. Like, I want more, and this is the path. I don't know where it'll lead, but hopefully more is what I'll get. So.
Okay. So well, before we move on from Lamar, I just want to show one thing. When we looked up Nickel State in Lamar, I think this is you, Abby. This was in like from
Oh
Lamar's.
gosh, better not be a.
No, it's a picture of you like scoring or something like that. So, so I thought I should at least show.
Yeah, show this guy.
Oh, I don't know. I don't. This is actually against Nicholls State. Is that you?
Oh, that is me. Yeah.
That's awesome. See,
Where's
what are the chances? I mean, the game was only 1-0. You guys won, but you were like the picture that they had for this game. So I thought we got to show it.
Wow. I think that might be at Lamar. I don't know where that is actually.
Yeah, it's a grass field. So
this might be my senior year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I think it was your senior year because it was 2022.
Yeah.
And you're number 7, right?
Yep. Was number 7.
Cool. All right.
The girl in the back in the orange shirt had it as a goal.
She thinks it's good.
She's the only she's the only one fired up for you.
I don't know if I scored. I don't know if I scored in this game, but
well, in her eyes,
I was looking at I was looking at the box score and I don't think I saw yours, but it's a great picture.
Yeah. Kicking the crap out of her legs there.
Was it 28-2 shots on goal versus
26-2? Yes, 26-2, and they won 1-0. So that goalie was having a day.
She was, jeez. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah, some games went like that where we would take like 50 shots and score 1 goal, and we're like, how is this even possible? Like at least one should have just dinked in or something. But
you'd think
it goes like that some days. Yeah.
All right, sorry to interrupt you there.
So, no, I was going to just say, so you go to Lamar and then you graduate from Lamar, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes, I did do that in May this past year. Mm-hmm.
So are you part of the COVID year? Like, are you, because now you read football players are going on their 9th year, right? They did red shirt, and they did medical, and then they did like, I don't feel like playing year. And then they're like how are they still
football
doing
guys
this? So
do get that. I don't know. Football guys are elite. Like 7 years for me is like a lot, but they just seem to like, I'm like 12 years? How are you like, I don't understand how it's possible.
Like the top 3 quarterbacks this year are like 27.
They have like 4 kids already.
Literally. That's so true. Yeah, so I was part of the COVID group. But the thing is, which is super awesome in my perspective, we got to play our entire season, but I still got an entire season back.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so don't tell NCAA if they're listening. Yeah. So
they're not listening.
Obviously, good. We went through like some games we didn't play because we only had like 10 people because people were quarantining and stuff. So that was a little chaotic, but we still got to play like a full season. I think we played it in the spring. Yeah, so instead of the fall, we played it in the spring, but it was still.
God bless Texas. Got another.
Yeah. That's so true. The coldest was like 30, and people were like, "Oh my gosh!" It was awesome though. I gotta be tan a lot of the time. Now I'm pale.
So you said
nice.
you go to the Lamar coach now, and you're like, So is it like, hey, I'm graduating, but I want to continue? And like, did he still want you, or did the coach? I shouldn't assume, but did the coach say we'd still like you to be a part of our program, or was it time for the split?
Well, sadly, we got a new coach my senior year. Oh, not sadly, sorry. We got a new coach, but I loved the coach that recruited me. He was like, he's still, shout out to Steve Holman, the best coach I will ever have in my entire life. Yeah,
you could be on the show. Steve Holman, call me.
Oh my gosh, you should. He would be so. Oh, he's so good. He's so smart. The smartest coach I've ever had, and he's so calm, collective. But the team was run so smooth, and everyone was on the same page all the time. So it was really awesome. But yeah, so we got a new coach my senior year, and we, to keep it short, did not get along very well, and so we went through that whole season, and that was my full season as coming back from ACL. So that's probably the toughest season for someone coming back from ACL because you're still trying to figure out which ways your feet point and how to run straight, kind of thing. So that was definitely a mentally challenging season for me. Obviously, because I'm a leader on the team. It was my senior year, and I wanted to play the best I could, but you're still, trying to figure out how to be a soccer player again. So, yeah. So then we played LSU, and I thought I played pretty well against LSU, and I was like, I want to play in at that time, like, I'm playing in the SEC. Like, I know this is happening right after the game. I was like, I'm getting in the portal. So I gave him about a week, and then I went in there, and I was like, hey, like, I know I can play at a different level. And to be honest, the Southland is not doing the hottest competitive wise. So I need to get out of it. And so I was like, yeah, I need something different. And he was not very happy with me in either way, staying or leaving. So, yeah. And then
it's weird.
Yeah. Then it was
right.
Yeah.
Can't make them happy. I guess it's time to move on.
No, it was like that. It was the weirdest thing. Like, we don't want you to stay, but don't leave. So I was like, a love-hate relationship, but it's okay. It happens like that sometimes. Yeah, and then I jumped in the portal for a lot of months, and then UVU was like kind of one of the last places I reached out to, and my coach now is very, very cut and dry. He called me for like 5 minutes. He gave me the lowdown, and I said yes, and then came on a visit, and here I am, surrounded by mountains.
So, and I don't know if I should ask, but are you like, is your scholarship cover your academics and housing?
The one here only covers my school, so it pays for all my school.
Okay.
But at Lamar, I was on pretty much like a full ride there, so that was hard to leave, but it's okay. It was
right.
It.
Because talking with Juan, some schools only get so many scholarships, and a lot of times they cut them in half, they cut them in a quarter. Mm-hmm. So you were beneficial to a full scholarship, which is fantastic, because you hear that it's not very prevalent in women's soccer to get a full scholarship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, here in Utah, they recruit a lot of locals, so that helps a lot with the scholarships, because they all get in-state, and some of them live at home, so they don't even need that scholarship kind of thing. So depending on the talent you have around you, I guess, is kind of the way. We had a lot of locals at Lamar too, but we had a lot of internationals who took up the full scholarship. So you'll find that a lot, where there are a lot of locals and a lot of internationals who take up that full scholarship and stuff. But
you see in the men's game that the international players are taking over, like full teams are all foreigners, and it hasn't hit the U.S. And if it could hold off a while, I was only sophomores. But have you seen more foreign females playing in the States?
Like for college?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too much at UVU. We have a couple internationals, but at Lamar, the coach that I got recruited by was very heavy on the internationals. So we had people from Iceland, Finland, Spain, the Netherlands, like all over, which personally I liked, because they were some of the best soccer players I've ever played with, and they brought a different aspect of the game to it, especially like the Spaniard. She's unbelievable with her feet, and I feel like they don't teach that too much in the States. It's kind of, are you fast? Can you outrun with the ball? Kind of thing. So that was cool to see that, like, in Spain, they teach them, more technical than they do sometimes here. So, but
now we did ask Coach last week about what he thought about Wisconsin players. And his first word is Wisconsin players are very physical. Mm-hmm. And is that how you see it? Like,
that's how I am. So, yeah, I'm definitely not the quickest.
Maybe that's where he's getting it, right? Like, we just played a girl from Wisconsin last year, and she beat the snot out of all of us.
Yeah. I would say Wisconsin girls are pretty physical, but, like, Roosevelt is probably one of the fastest on the national team, so I would say they're pretty fast, too. But personally, that is my game, is physicality, so I can say yes to that. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Now, you did get a chance to live in the big city of Green Bay, right? And play for our local team here.
Uh-huh.
Well, you spent some time in Pulaski. That's okay. So what was that like? Because you come out of college and then you played, with the Green Bay Glory, and it's kind of it's an excellent thing, right? You played with girls all over, and it's just summer soccer.
Yeah. I think they came around when I was like a freshman. I remember my dad being like, this new big thing, like what it's called, the WPSL. And he was like, this is going to be the next thing. So he's like, why don't you try out? And I was like, sure, whatever. And it was local. And then I like got on the team, and it was like one of the best experiences I had. I didn't realize, college it's not very much so community based. Where the summer team was like all community based. Like they do a wonderful job at like giving back and making you realize it is more than soccer. Obviously, soccer players, it's not like we only play soccer and we love soccer and only think about soccer, but summer's kind of a break. So it does let you, like let those things in a little more. And that was really cool. And I obviously got to live with Paul and Coral. That sucked, obviously, riding on the boat all summer. It was a horrible experience.
Obviously, it's a terrible experience.
Obviously,
well, maybe not Coral. Yeah. Obviously, Paul, but not Coral. We're not going to, Coral.
Yeah, right. No, shout out to Coral. That was the best summer ever. Yeah. Paul was just a little side guy over there. No, they were awesome. Yeah, and that was even the coolest part too. I live 2 hours away, obviously, so I couldn't come to 6 a.m. practice every day. That would have sucked. So thankfully, Paul and Coral opened their freezing basement to me. So that was awesome. But that was cool. Like it was like a different dynamic to, like little freshman, sophomore Abby living with this random family in their basement, so that definitely was a little character builder as well. But it was still super competitive, going back to the soccer part of it. But it was in a different way, it was kind of more relaxed. So you could play soccer a little more in a free state rather than college is kind of like you make a mistake and you're out, where.
Right.
So I stress the importance of playing in the summer. It's definitely a different side of soccer, and you get to be a little more creative and get your craft a little more. So that was super fun.
How many girls are on your team, right? Like how you look at D1, you're like, oh, there's probably 15 or 20. How many girls are on the Utah Valley team? Including practice.
We have about 30 girls, I believe. Which is pretty common. I would say 30. At Lamar, our coach was crazy. I don't even know what was going on, but we'd have 12 healthy girls at points, which was fun because you got really fit and you just were in every drill, every second of it. But ideally, you'd 25 to 30 on the squad. Yeah. I think any more than 30 is too much because it's hard to get more than 11 on the field at a time, So. That's a hard rotation if you got 40 girls on the roster.
And as your senior, you're right. You're like, I'm not coming off for a freshman. It's just not happening, right? You're like, I am playing.
Yeah. Right. There's no other way. Yeah.
What position do you play?
I play as the 6, so a holding mid.
Dumb it down a little bit, Abby. Dumb it down for us.
Yeah.
Talk about
I'm the 6, 7, 11, 12. No, I'm just kidding. It's coming. It's growing. The numbers are growing. Yeah, so I play like a holding mid right above the center backs. Otherwise, we just lost 2 of our best center backs at UVU, so I might be thrown in there a little bit, but definitely not a winger or anything fast up top, but I can throw a body in there. That's what I got.
It's pretty much my game too. The speed, I lack the speed, so. Yeah.
Okay.
So how many? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and I'm sorry, I'm maybe changing a little bit, but if you're getting into your last season here, have you started thinking about what you want to do after college? Is there coaching in the future? Is there?
Yeah. Well, I technically still have 2 years left.
Oh, really? Holy cow.
There it is, folks. 9 years.
Wow,
they
okay.
call her doctor.
Yeah.
Well, good. I mean, that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. I thought you had one more after this.
It's awesome. Okay. Soccer aspect, the school aspect, I'm fading. It gets harder as you stay in longer. It's not as fun as freshman year taking music appreciation. But so because I tore my ACL my junior year and then tore my ACL, I didn't get any games. I tore it into the first scrimmage. So I think get my COVID year still, and then I get my redshirt ACL. So I will get one more fall and then a fall and a spring and then one more fall. So I'll have 2 full seasons with the team.
That's
if
awesome.
I want to take it. But I've heard out of college is horrid, so I'm gonna, I think, try and stay in as much as I can. But
Okay.
But after that, I mean, I can't really say anything. I'm 5 months out for an ACL, but hoping to play overseas or play somewhere for a while. I know.
Cool.
Yeah, a job is hopefully in the future, but
overrated.
soccer's only right now.
Overrated.
Yeah, it is overrated. 100%. I do not.
Right?
I'm a free spirit. There's no way you can lock me into a job like that. No way. But I think coaching, I really like the college coaching aspect of it because it's serious and you get to travel all over and be with some top level girls. So hopefully maybe that. I don't really know. We'll see.
Okay, good. Well, if you need anything, alma mater is always open for you. So, you know, you can always head back and get some coach. We're trying to rebuild this program that went to shambles after you left. And so we need help.
Sorry. Yeah, me and Joe Gemza, the dad. Oh my gosh, I could not imagine. He would love that little retirement project.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're just hoping to get this thing back to 500 this year. So if we can pull that off, then we'd be really happy. So
yeah, it'll grow. It has its phases.
Yeah,
it'll get back there.
You know, speaking of your dad, right? You go from playing youth soccer, right, and then you play you play youth soccer where your parents are constantly with you, right? They sit on the sidelines. And then you get to high school where all of a sudden everybody's in the stands. And then you get to college where you go from playing from parents to fans.
Yeah.
So what is that transition, right? Because I'm sure my daughter gets off the field and I'm like, not knowing much about the game, right? But first of all, I'm like, oh, you should have kicked the ball a little farther in the second half or whatever. She's like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
So how's that transition like, right? Because you go from that car ride home with dad or mom, and then you go to now you're on a bus in the middle of Tennessee.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of whispered phone calls on the bus talking crap about your teammates. That's the transition. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it definitely is hard, especially being – no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Love all my teammates. They're awesome. But, yeah, definitely is a different dynamic being so far away from home, too. And my dad is definitely keeps a book of like every touch I mistouched on the field and stuff. But it's kind of cool to have that other connection with him, you know? And then you always get mom on the phone, like those refs suck, you know, and stuff like that. So that's always fun. But yeah, it's just a different, I think you grow up a little bit more when it's farther away, you know, not just like in the car with you. So you get like more of a perspective, you know, because he's obviously watching it on TV and stuff, and it's not the same as being there and seeing all that. But it definitely adds a little more pressure when it's not just your mom and dad watching you and sitting in their lawn chair on the sideline. But it gives you a little more to play for, and then you get like connections with the fans and stuff, and they really like get devoted to you. So that's really cool. I think it like steps up the level a little more, competitive wise. So that's fun.
I read this today and I took a screenshot of it. I don't know where you're at, but did you see the University of North Carolina that they lost? They have 12 players on the roster right now.
Women's soccer?
Women's soccer.
I did not see that.
Right here, UNC women's soccer. Yeah. UNC women's soccer is down to 12 players on their 24 roster. A 25 commit just went through. The Daily Tar here reports an exodus of 75% of the team.
So you're telling me to get in the portal right now.
That's a pretty big program. I'm not saying anything, but I just find that crazy. Wow. Like that's one of the top women's soccer programs that has always been in the country. And to have like something's going on, right? Like you don't want to go run into that house fire right now. You want to like, hey, everybody's leaving. I'm coming, coach.
Right.
But I just
sometimes
found that
it falls that way, especially with the COVID thing. You know, you get all these seniors for so long, and then like all of a sudden they're out of eligibility. You know, and then you lose like your 11 starters from that COVID year. You know, so it could be something like that. I know that's hard. I think a couple years. We brought in like 13 freshmen at one point, 12 freshmen. Wow. Which is crazy. Yeah, crazy. But you'll get a couple in there who can jump right into the level. But it's hard starting with 12 freshmen. definitely
And they
fun.
can't call it
Yeah, I don't know.
hazing, right? Is there any questionable? I'm not saying because that's against the
I
rules,
won't admit to
NCAA,
anything. I won't admit
right?
to No, no. I don't believe in the whole hazing thing. Besides, get the balls, get the cones, and we're gonna throw things at you. Besides that part, yeah, no hazing going on.
No hazing,
Yeah.
nothing.
No, none.
Never
Definitely
happened.
No. Yeah.
Well, God, hour and 6 minutes. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's
I
nuts.
did not feel that long at all. That's
No,
awesome.
we really appreciate any last things you want to talk about. You know, we've got topics coming out of our ears, but here's one, just a quick one: grass or turf?
Just a quick
Ooh.
100% grass. No
Yeah,
way
okay.
turf.
Yeah, we're in the
Turf is
same
bad for
boat.
the knees. No, yeah. We like our knees healthy. Definitely grass.
Okay, good.
Not bumpy grass though. Smooth grass.
Oh well,
Nice.
easy. This is
Take
this
care
is
of the grass.
right. This is Wisconsin we play in, right?
Yeah.
Everything is bumpy.
That's true. It works on your touch though. So.
I will say this though, probably the best fields I've ever played on, no offense to Joe, is MCU. I mean, those fields up there
Wausau?
are unbelievable.
Yeah.
They are just
yeah.
perfectly flat. It's crazy.
That is true. And PCYS will
anyways.
cut theirs like 2 days after the game you played, and you're like, "What are you doing? You should have cut it." Yeah, that was always my favorite thing. I'm like, "Thank you for cutting it after the game." Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, great. We'll wrap this up and let you get on your way. But we really appreciate coming on. This was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I love talking and soccer, so this is the best night. It's awesome.
But we're trying to still
Well,
learn
good
the
looking.
game of soccer, right? The numbers still kind of get us a little crazy, but
We'll work
good
on
luck.
it. We'll work on it.
Yeah, good luck
Thank
with
you. Thanks, guys.
with
Yeah,
two
with the
more
rehab
years.
too, yeah. Heal up good.
Yeah, with my 7 more years of college. Yeah, I'll keep working on it.
You could get a doctorate. Let's do it. Let's just go
I
all
could,
in.
honestly. I don't know what I'm going to do my last semester. I'm out of degrees. I don't got any more.
Real estate. Get a real estate degree. I think I got a couple credits to go, but pretty easy.
There you
go. Selling houses.
Well,
thank
if you
you
want to
guys.
hang on,
This was awesome.
yeah, hang on for a couple minutes, and we're going to shut this down. And thanks again.
Okay, awesome.